And we're back. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dark Phoenix Gaming, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Mass Effect Legendary Edition with Vin Shepard. So, last time we left off, we had just finished up matters on Pharos. And we got given some brain drugs or something by that lady we freed from the Thorian. Oh yeah, we also killed a mind control plant, so that was fun. And we managed to save all of the colonists and not kill any of them. Because we put drugs in our grenades and punched people. Oh, some of them might have a bit of a headache, granted, but they'll live. Now we're heading back to the Normandy, because the last episode was simply too long for me to do the wrap-up. So we have to do it this episode. Anyways, let's go.
Stand by, shore party. Decontamination in progress.
Decontamination in progress.
Commander, you look pale. Are you suffering any ill effects from the cipher?
I guess we gave them the rundown in the meantime, but I feel weird.
The cipher shook me up a bit.
I might be able to help you. I am an expert on the Protheans. If I join my consciousness to yours, maybe we can make some sense of it.
So, more brain drugs. Okay, let's do it.
Do it. Hurry. We don't have much time.
Yeah, who knows what shit
Relax,
Saren's
Commander.
getting up to now.
Embrace eternity.
Liara, what kind of drugs have you been doing lately? Do I need to sign you up for Addicts Anonymous?
That was incredible. All this time, all my research, yet I never dreamed. I am sorry. The images were so vivid. I never imagined the experience would be so intense. You are remarkably strong-willed, Commander. What you have been through, what you have seen, would have destroyed a lesser mind.
So we're
Did you see
amazing.
anything?
What else is new?
The beacon on Eden Prime must have been badly damaged. Large parts of the vision are missing. The data transferred into the Commander's mind is incomplete.
You sure you didn't come across any kind of clue or hint? Something we might have missed?
Everything I saw, you already know. You were right about the Reapers. The Protheans were destroyed by a race of sentient machines. I think it is obvious there is a connection between the Reapers, the Prothean extinction, and the Conduit. But I did not see anything that would help us find it.
So we know there is a connection, but we don't know what it is. To be honest, that didn't really tell us much we didn't already know. I'm not sure what the point of us having the conduit even is at this point, unless we manage to find another beacon or something that isn't blown to bits.
What's our next move?
I was able to interpret the data relayed through your vision. What was there, at least. But something was missing. Saren must have the missing information. Maybe he found another beacon. If we can find the missing data from your vision, I can... oh. I am sorry. The joining is exhausting. I should go to the medical bay and lie down for a moment.
Okay. Go and rest.
We're done here. Dismissed.
I've sent off the Pharos report, Commander. You want me to patch you through to the Council?
Yeah, sure.
Patch him through, Joker.
Setting up the link now, Commander.
Commander, is this some kind of game? Are you calling in a report just so you can cut us off again?
Don't tempt me.
I lost my temper.
Understandable. You're under a great deal of stress. Things would have been easier if Exogeny had warned you about the Thorian.
You might have been able to capture it for study instead of destroying it.
Honestly, given its whole mind control fetish thing, we're probably better off this way.
The Thorian liked to enslave minds. Anyone who studied it would have ended up as one of its thralls.
Perhaps it's for the best then. At least the colony was saved.
Of course it was saved. Shepard would go to any lengths to help a human colony.
And, of course, the Turian Counselor is the mega racist. But in this case, I'm not feeling like that's enough of an agitation to cut them off, so I help everyone.
Being human had nothing to do with it. They were in trouble.
Admirable. But sometimes Spectres have to make sacrifices. I hope you're willing to do that when the time comes.
Goodbye, Commander. We will be waiting for your next report.
Yes, and I didn't hang up on them and actually showed professionalism. Yay me! Yeah, working on that charm where I can. And obviously. And with that, we're done with the Pharaohs, and I have some time to go around and chat with the crew a little. So that's what we'll do next, before we go off on random side quests.
Hey, Commander, next time we touch down, let's try not to park the ship in a colony of mutant zombies. Just thinking out loud here.
Oh, I love you, Joker. You are the best.
How's the Normandy performing? Is she everything they said she'd be?
She's the best ship in the fleet. If you've got a pilot who knows how to handle her. Balance isn't what you'd expect. Takes a while to get used to that oversized drive core we got stuffed in the back, and her power can sneak up on you if you're not careful. The Normandy's probably too much ship for your average Alliance pilot, Commander. Lucky for you, I'm anything but average.
Yes. Good to see you're nice and humble about your capabilities there, Joker.
I like to know my crew. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
I can see where this is going. You did a background check on me, didn't you? Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told the captain. You want me as your pilot. I'm not good. I'm not even great. I am the best damn helmsman in the Alliance fleet. Top of my class in flight school, I earned that. All those commendations in my file, I earned every single one. Those weren't given to me as charity for my disease.
Wait, disease?
I'm sorry, Joker. I didn't even know you were sick.
You mean you didn't know? Oh, crap. Okay, I've got Vrolik syndrome, brittle bone disease. The bones in my legs never develop properly. They're basically hollow, too much force and they'll shatter. Even with crutches and my leg braces, it's hard to get around. One wrong step and crack! It's very dramatic. But I've learned to manage my condition, Commander. Put the Normandy in my hands and I'll make her dance for you. Just don't ask me to get up and dance unless, you know, you like the sound of snapping shin bones.
Charming. So yeah. Yes, our pilot is a cripple. Still about the most awesome pilot that we were ever likely to get, but, you know. Interesting little quirk to have there. Also, very interesting nickname. Joker. Where did that come from?
Why does everyone call you Joker?
It's a lot shorter than saying Alliance Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau. Plus, I love to make little children laugh.
I was just thinking how much you remind me of Santa Claus.
Look, I didn't pick the name. One of the instructors in flight school used to bug me about never smiling. She started calling me Joker, and it stuck.
Why didn't you ever smile?
Hey, I worked my ass off in flight school, Commander. The world's not gonna hand you anything if you go around grinning like an idiot. By the end of the year, I was the best pilot in the academy. Even better than the instructors, and everybody knew it. They'd all got their asses kicked by the sickly kid with the creaky little legs. One guess who was smiling at graduation?
Yeah. I can see why that would be worthy of a grin or two. Now tell me about this disease of yours, since I'm here interrogating you and all.
I need to know more about this Rolex syndrome if I'm putting my ship in your hands.
Yeah, of course you do. It's an extremely rare condition. Nobody knows exactly what causes it. Genetic, maybe. It's treatable, but there's no cure. They classify my case as moderate to severe. I was born with over a dozen fractures. Hip, thighs, ankles. My bones were already breaking in the womb. 100 years ago, I wouldn't have survived past my first year. Lucky for me, modern medical science has turned me into a productive member of society.
Okay. That'll do it.
I have to go.
Alright, see ya.
And yeah, we're gonna make a point of coming back to see Joker after every individual mission. The main story ones anyways, because he always has some neat running commentary about stuff that's going on that I quite like to hear. For now, we need to head around and chitty-chatty with the rest of the peeps. And we haven't talked to Tally at all yet, so we'll have to do that. Hey, Caden.
Do you have some time to talk now, Commander?
Yeah, sure.
Of course. Have a seat.
We've played it pretty close to the book so far, but we're a long way from backup. We've got some tough calls to make. I'm just saying, try to leave yourself a way out. I've seen what cutting corners can do, and I'd hate to have that happen to you, Shepard. Commander.
That's not the appropriate way to address your commanding officer, Lieutenant.
Sorry, ma'am. Maybe I got a bad signal. And if you're a... maybe there's someone else you'd rather confide in. Ma'am.
All right, Alenko. Off the record, permission to speak candidly, cross my heart and hope to die. What are you talking about?
Dr. Sony.
I see. He
There's
thinks
always
that
rumor
we're
she's,
involved. I get
It's
it.
more than a source of Prothean data. She's a very interesting lady. To my, tastes, but, I never claimed to be big on alien culture.
Well, it sounds to me, Caden, like you might be a little jealous.
You seem awfully worried about my personal affairs.
It's just that we don't have much downtime these days. I like being around you, but I don't want to take up your personal time.
Look, there's nothing between Liara and me. What's the real issue here, Caden?
You're right. Sorry. It wasn't, Liara's not my main concern. I'm not questioning any decision you've made, Shepard. Let me be clear about that. It's just my experience that once someone lets something slide, it tends to pick up speed. You get my meaning?
Talk to me, Caden. You got a little black rain cloud sitting over your head.
I'll try to keep the deck dry. You know the records about the biotic training out on Jump Zero? They're all classified, because the Alliance made mistakes. After first contact, Kinetics was set up to track Element Zero exposures and develop implants for humans. Once we had an embassy on the Citadel, Kinetics could bring in experts instead of taking it slow.
And we couldn't do this alone. Why exactly?
Is there some reason we couldn't learn it on our own?
They didn't know where to start. Hell, it took a couple of years to even link biotics and Ezo. Forget trying to get the kids to move stuff. They had trouble just helping them not break their own limbs. And their choice of teachers didn't help much.
Some issue with their so-called experts, then.
The only experts would have to be aliens.
Dead on. Turians, actually. That's why Kinetics kept it a secret. They were afraid of what people back home would think, asking the Turians for help when we just fought a war with them.
Why the Turians, though? The Asari are more the biotic specialists, though.
The Asari would have been more acceptable than the Turians.
Yes, but the company didn't go through the Citadel. It would have made Earth look weak, so they discreetly hired some Turian mercenaries.
Well, I'm sure they meant
I'm
well,
sure
right?
Colonist did what they thought was best.
It wasn't best for us. They brought in an ex-military Turian named Commander Vernus. To introduce himself, he liked to say, "I was at the helm of the dreadnought that killed your father." Well, I told him my dad wasn't in the war. He'd retired to Vancouver. My family had an inland home that matured to new beachfront. Vernus had it in for me after that. He cut corners, pushed hard. I mean, you either came out a Superman or a wreck. A lot of kids snapped. A few died. The point of all of this, I guess, is that when you cut corners, it's not always obvious who pays for it.
So why are you telling me this? Is there something I can do to help you get over it?
I'm 32, Shepard. You don't serve as long as I have without coming to terms with yourself. You also learn that if someone is special to you, you help them. Try to keep them from making mistakes.
Special, eh?
Special, huh?
I'm out of line. Just say the word.
Oh, trust me, Caden, you are not out of line. Not at all.
You're not out of line, Caden. But there are regs.
I get you, Shepard. I don't make a habit of complicating the chain of command. Just think about what I said.
Okay. So yeah. Caden is interested in us, essentially. And as far as the romance options I tend to lean towards for female Shepard in Mass Effect 1, his is the one I generally go with. I've once or twice just straight up not romanced anyone in Mass Effect 1 and just waited for Mass Effect 2, but this is the route we're gonna go here, because as much as I hear some people say Caden is kind of bland and boring, I like him. He is one of my favorite characters, and even when you get down to portrayal in later games, I definitely like him more than Ashley. Even if I don't exactly dislike her. But enough about that. Last mission talk?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
I'm glad there aren't many aliens like the Thorian. I don't think my stomach could take it. One of my cousins has an agribusiness. I was thinking of calling him. Maybe he can get some shipments into Pharaohs. I mean, now that they're cut off.
Yeah, fair point. They could probably use the help.
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
I've wasted enough of your time for now, Commander. We'll have time for personal debriefings later.
Okay.
We'll talk later, Caden.
That's
love
everything he has to say for now. So, let's have a little chitty-chatty with Liara, then.
Commander, are you coming to check up on me?
Yep, I was concerned about you.
You look much better.
You
How
are my friend,
feeling?
after all.
Dr. Chakwas assures me I am going to be fine. I was impressed with her knowledge of Asari physiology.
Yeah, she's awesome.
You're in good hands. Dr. Chakwas knows what she's doing.
I get the feeling you want to ask me something, Commander.
We've asked the investigate options already, but I would like to know more about you.
Maybe we could pick up where we left off. You were telling me about your interest in the Protheans.
Actually, I think I was talking about my interest in you, and making a fool of myself in the process. As I said, I am not used to dealing with people, especially humans. I did not really know much about your species when we first met, Shepard. I found it hard to take humanity seriously. Your kind always seemed so rushed and high-strung.
Well, to be fair, we don't live as long as Asari, so we have to take things faster to get anything done.
We don't have the luxury of time, and Asari can live for 1,000 years. We're lucky if we hit 150.
Which is an improvement from
That is
today,
true.
to be sure.
At first I thought that was a weakness of your species. After spending time with you and your crew, however, I think it may actually be an advantage. You humans are creatures of action. You pursue your goals with an almost indomitable determination. It is an admirable trait, but also an intimidating one.
You're scared of us?
Unfortunately, the rest of the galaxy sees humanity as something of a bully. You run over anyone in your path to get what you want. It is up to people like you to change their minds, Shepard.
I'm doing the best I can, Liara.
There is a reason the Council chose you to become a Spectre. They saw something special in you.
Actually,
best of what
I think
humanity
it was
has to
more
offer. I
politics
looked
and
into
the
your
fact
history.
that
I
they
know what you
didn't
did
want to
during the
deal with
Blitz.
their own
It
problem with
was a remarkable
Saren.
display of courage and heroism.
Yeah. It's not exactly spying. That sort of stuff would be public record. Anyone with internet access could look it up, I bet. So, but you could have just asked, you know?
You didn't need to go behind my back. I would have told you whatever you
Except
wanted to
stuff
know.
that's
I
military
apologize,
level
Commander.
classified,
After
of
our
course.
last conversation, I was afraid I would say something stupid again. I wanted to know more about you, to understand what made you into the woman you are. There is something compelling about you, Shepard.
Are you sure you're interested in me? Or is it my visions of the Protheans?
I admit, your connection to the Protheans had something to do with my initial interest, but it has grown beyond that. You intrigue me, Shepard, but I was not sure if it was appropriate to act on my feelings. I thought there might already be a relationship between you and Lieutenant Alenko.
Well, you would kind of be right about that.
I care about Caden. A lot.
I thought so. Still, I feel as if there is also some attraction between us, Shepard.
Yeah, sorry, but... sorry, Liara. No offense, but I'm not really interested in boinking you.
I'm not interested in you in that way, Liara.
This is very embarrassing for me, Commander. Please, let's talk about something else.
Okay.
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Yes. I love these BioWare games. I really do. I adore the Mass Effect and Dragon Age games to no end, but they do have one problem with portraying relationships. It's that when that comes up in a conversation, your options are basically, I am interested in having sex with this person, or I completely and utterly shoot them down. No option to the vein of, I see you like family, or anything like that, which is kind of annoying. At least to me. Hey, Garrus.
Commander, good to see you.
You've been with CSEC a while. Have you seen much action?
Well, not as much as you, but yeah, I've seen some interesting things.
Anything you want to share?
I bet you have. Anything in particular that stands out?
I remember this Solarian geneticist.
Oh, this story. I remember this story.
The case was a bit disturbing.
What happened? Why were you investigating him?
I was tasked with tracking black market trade on the Citadel. Most of it harmless, nothing I needed to pursue. But during the course of my investigation, I noticed an increase in the trade of body parts, organs mostly. We usually get a few of those, but not the numbers I was seeing. We weren't sure if there was a new black market lab or if some freak was harvesting organs from citizens.
Wait, that's something that happens. Really?
You've seen this before on the Citadel?
Every so often, some lab sells unwanted parts through the black market, but they're not as bad as the cycles. I remember this one Elcor diplomat we caught in my first year on the job. He was hacking people up and selling their organs, had the station in a bit of a panic. But this case wasn't that clear-cut. Turns out there was more going on than we first realized.
Okay, now I'm interested.
So how did you figure out what was happening?
First, we got a hold of a sample and ran DNA tests. The weird thing was, the match led us to a Turian who was still alive and was very convinced he'd never lost his liver. After a bit of digging, I discovered this Turian worked briefly for Dr. Salion, the geneticist. So I went to his lab hoping to find evidence of cloned organ development, but there was nothing. No Solarian hearts, no Turian livers, not one organ
Krogan testicles. You're kidding me.
You're kidding, right? Why would anyone want Krogan testicles?
Some Krogan believe that testicle transplants can increase their virility, counteract the effects of the genophage. It doesn't work, but that doesn't stop them from buying. They'll pay up to 10,000 credits each. That's 40,000.
I'm sorry, but there's something about the idea of a Krogan having 4 testicles that is just hilarious in a juvenile sort of way to me. Wait, does that also mean they have 4 dicks? Because I wouldn't rule that out, given some Krogan that we've met so far, to be honest.
What'd you do about the geneticist?
I brought in some of his employees for interrogation, to see if I could get them to talk. While I was interviewing one of them, I came across something suspicious.
You mean threatening? Was that really necessary?
Maybe, maybe not. Either way, it paid off. One of my detainees started bleeding profusely during the interview. We offered to patch him up, and he got frantic, freaked out. I ordered a full exam to find out what was going on. Our medics found incisions all over his body, some of them fresh. That was our big break. These people weren't just Dr. Salion's employees. They were test tubes, walking, living test tubes.
Ugh, that is just sick.
He was growing parts inside these people?
Exactly. He cloned their organs right inside their own bodies. Then he harvested them and sold them off. Most of the victims were poor. He'd pay them each a small percentage of the sales, but only if the organs were good. Sometimes an organ wouldn't grow properly, so he'd just leave it in them. Most of them were a mess, but only on the inside, hidden so nobody could see it.
I hope he got what he deserved.
That's the worst part. We never caught him.
What? You're kidding. You mean that son of a bitch got away after all of this? Really?
Why not? What the hell happened?
He ran, blew his lab, grabbed some of his employees, and headed for the nearest space dock. By the time I found out, his ship was already leaving. He threatened to kill his hostages if we tried to stop him.
But you went after him anyway, right?
I ordered Citadel Defense to shoot him down, but CSEC headquarters countermanded my order. They were worried about the hostages, worried about civilian casualties if the ship was destroyed so close to the Citadel. I told them those hostages were dead anyway. We just used them to make more organs. They wouldn't listen.
It's not worth the risk. You pursue the vessel and disable it. That's the best choice.
They sent the military after him, but he got away just the same. Yes, they did. I went to Palin and told him what I thought of him and his policies. He said if I didn't like it, I could quit. Well, I almost did. All they had to do was disable that ship, stop him from running. Maybe the hostages die, maybe they don't, but at least we stopped the bastard responsible for it all.
If you don't care about the fate of those hostages, then you're no better than he is. You're just a terrorist with a badge.
Yeah, maybe you're right. It doesn't make it any easier, but I see your point. Just wish I could have stopped him. That's all.
I see. That's certainly an interesting story. Now, I don't suppose you ever found out what became of him after the fact, did you?
Do you have any idea what happened to Dr. Salion?
I sent out feelers from time to time, hoping to find something. I thought I'd found him a while back. He changed ships and changed his name to Dr. Hart, his idea of a joke, I guess. I told the military, but they weren't convinced it was him. I got the transponder frequency for his new ship, but I just can't get anyone to check it out.
Okay, give me the frequency. I'll check it out when we get a chance.
I'll check out the coordinates when I get a chance.
I was hoping you'd say that. But Commander, take me with you when you go. If it's Salion, I want to be there when you find it.
Okay. So, that's Garrus's personal quest. We'll go off to do that sometime. To find Dr. Salion. And give him a bit of justice. Hey, Ashley.
Commander?
Dismissed, Chief.
The
Ma'am.
hell?
Commander?
I must have accidentally
What's your opinion of
auto-closed
the
it.
last mission?
Gotta admire those colonials. That's about the worst place for a colony I've ever seen. Given the option, I'd get the hell
Yeah,
out of Dodge.
I think I would too, honestly.
Do you have a few minutes to talk? One-on-one?
Sure. I was just watching some mail from home.
Oh, before I go, we saw Caden in a news vid about the Normandy. He's cute. Later, sis.
Let's pretend this never happened.
Okay, interesting bit of trivia here, because if you're playing male Shepard, then it actually mentions you instead of Caden.
The damage is done, Williams.
Oh, shoot me now. One of my sisters. That's Sarah, the youngest. What's up? You didn't come by to eavesdrop on family mail.
Well, now that it's been brought up, why don't you tell me about your family? I don't think I've heard you mention them before.
Your family seems to be important to you.
Yeah, we've always been close. Me and my sisters especially. With Dad on duty so much, I had to help Mom raise them.
Did your father serve with the fleet?
Yeah, took any crap posting he could get that offered space time. You know what? He worked his ass off trying to get recognized, but he never made it above serviceman 3rd class. He was real proud when I made Chief. First thing he did was salute.
What about your mother? You haven't mentioned her.
You must know what military wives are like. Strong because they have to be, able to raise kids while Dad's away on a 6-month cruise. She has a degree in planetary geology. She and Dad both wanted to see new worlds. She gave up her career to raise us, though.
Oh, sounds like you have a pretty good family in life, though. And actually have a family, unlike us.
You have more than one sister? Sounds like a big family.
Yeah, I'm the oldest, then Abby, then Lynn. Sarah's the youngest. She's still in high school. With 4 girls, Dad used to say he felt more outnumbered at home than on maneuvers.
Where did you grow up?
All over. We transferred a half a dozen times before I finished grade school. You go where personnel command sends you, right? I guess that's why I'm so tight with my sisters. We'd have to leave all our friends every 2 or 3 years.
Well, having a family must be nice.
You're lucky to have a close family.
Sorry, I forgot about your family situation.
It's okay. It's been long enough that I'm not about to break down crying or anything. Don't worry about it.
Or lack thereof. Relax, Williams. I've dealt with it.
Asked me to clear a bunker of armed hostiles? No problem. Dealing with the foot in my mouth? Not so good with that. Things were tense between Sarah and me for a while. Then we bonded.
Sounds like a story. Feel like sharing?
Sarah got herself a boyfriend who wanted to go faster than she did. Mike. I didn't think he was a bad kid, just pushy. Lynn would send me these worried vid mails, and I'd tell her to relax.
Where were you when this was going on?
I was on active duty. Sarah's graduating high school this year. This was only a couple of years back. They were on Amaterasu. At the time, I was assigned to Chernobog. Same cluster, but a dozen LY away. Close enough to talk regularly, too far to make it back in an emergency. I couldn't afford a fast packet flight.
If he really liked her, he wouldn't be pushy.
Yeah, of course. If he didn't ask at all, I'd wonder if he thought Sarah was ugly. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Mike thought they'd go for a romantic walk in the woods, 'cause he figured it was past time they did the deed. She levered Mike face first into a tree and left. Didn't have a scratch on her. Good thing Mom and Dad had us all learn some kind of self-defense. I took emergency leave and walked Sarah to school for a few days.
Why didn't you tell the police?
She said it wouldn't solve the real problem, and she and Mike would both become household names. It was a small colony. I said it was her call to make, that we should let her do it her way. Mom was pretty pissed about that.
Well, she didn't want to be a source of gossip. I can see that.
You said all of your sisters learned self-defense?
Lynn did pistol practice, but didn't like it. She's kind of nervous. Sarah took Aikido. Abby decided to learn the sword. She always was a little weird. Likes big skirts and tops you have to tie her into. They do great things to her figure, though.
So, what did you learn?
One of Dad's friends taught me Marine hand to hand.
Oh, we already asked this.
Self-defense?
Lynn did pistol. Abby.
You traveled all the way home to walk your sister to school.
It was only a dozen light years, like a day's cruise. It's not like I was going to Earth or something. My last day out, Mike was waiting for us. Sarah had told her friends, so everyone at school knew what he did. He wasn't happy. I wanted to snap him in half, but Sarah gave me this look, this let me handle it, I need to do this alone look. She kept her cool, God bless her, as he screamed in her face. She just let him vent. Then he tried to punch her. I swear, she just flowed around him. Next thing I knew, he's face down on the sidewalk, and there's blood everywhere.
That's unbelievable. Sarah must be as good as you.
Better. I'm more or less a straight-up puncher. When he swung, she wasn't there anymore, and he fell. She helped him stop the bleeding and had me call an ambulance. She told the paramedics he fell. Before they took him to the hospital, Mike touched Sarah's arm. I thought he was going to end up on the ground again. But he hung his head, whispered, "I'm sorry," and started crying. And she hugged him. The Williams women are a decisive bunch, Commander. We do things when we're ready. Not before, not after.
Well, I do kind of like Ashley's story time things. And I know a lot of people don't like her because they think she's kind of a racist. And let's be fair, she is.
Your sister's something else. But you didn't mention your father at all. Was he on deployment?
Dad always wanted to serve in space, but he wanted us to have real ground under our feet. He'd say, space is beautiful, but you can't raise a family there. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. All times I've enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone. For always roaming with a hungry heart, much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments.
Poetry, huh? But yeah, like I was saying, to be fair, Ashley is kind of a racist. I just don't think she's as bad as a lot of people make her out to be, is what I'm trying to say.
I never thought I'd hear you reciting poetry.
Just because I can drill you between the eyes at 100 meters doesn't mean I can't like sensitive stuff. Just don't spread it around.
Yeah, got a reputation to uphold and all of that, eh?
A dozen versions when he retired.
Does he still like it?
I sure hope so. I read it to his grave every time I go home. Dad passed on a few years back. He's probably still watching, though.
You mean from wherever we go after death?
Dead on, Skipper. He's with God now. That's not a problem with you, is it? That I believe in God?
Well, I haven't heard you trying to push your religious beliefs on anyone else, so I think it's fine. Believe what you want.
Everyone has the right to believe what they want. Says so in the Alliance Charter, only with fancier words.
I'm glad you're open-minded about it. I've met a few people who are really weirded out by my faith. Because I work in space, I can't believe in a higher power? Jeez. Hello, have you people looked out the window? How can you look at this galaxy and not believe in something? I should get back to my duties. Didn't mean to take up so much of your time.
Yeah, no worries.
Dismissed, Chief.
Ma'am.
But yeah, in spite of some of the character flaws that a lot of people think make her just terrible and awful and all that, I really do like Ashley. Better than a lot of people at any rate, even if she's not my favorite character in this game. Sorry, but I think the favorite character medal has to, well, favorite allied character, we'll say, medal has to go to either Garrus or Joker. Yeah, even though I romance Caden the vast majority of the time, when I play FemShep, he's not my favorite character. You heard that right.
So, we've got Saren on the run.
Yep, we sure do.
It won't be long now. Saren's good, but I'm better.
Good. He's rotten. To the core. I could tell as soon as I met him.
Wait, you met Saren?
Why didn't you tell me this sooner?
I would have if I thought it was important.
Okay, fair enough. I guess we all have different metrics of importance, after all.
I think I'd like to hear about it just the same.
This was a while ago. A bunch of mercs were bragging about a job out near the edges of the Terminus systems. They said it paid well and the boss was never around to ride them. They said he was looking for more men, too. So I checked it out.
I didn't know Saren was openly recruiting mercs.
It wasn't that open, and he only showed his face once. We'd been raiding ships in the area for months when we took out this massive cargo freighter. Our biggest haul yet. I was on board checking bodies for valuables, looking for some extra credits. That's when I saw him.
What did Saren want with the ship?
I don't know what he wanted. He was just moving through the ship, watching. A couple of the mercs called him by name, but he never spoke to them. Never spoke to anyone. I had a really bad feeling about him, so I got the hell out. Didn't even wait to get paid.
Damn. Yeah, I don't know what that was about, but if Saren's involved, then it will have been trouble.
What kind of cargo was the freighter carrying? What was Saren after?
I don't know. All I saw on that ship was food and medical supplies. There were some basic weapons, but nothing big. If there was anything of value on that ship, I didn't see it. That's why I didn't mention it sooner.
I don't know. Maybe he was just testing to see what he could get away with in terms of local defenses and stuff before he went in big with the Geth and all. That's all I can think of, really.
Whose ship was it?
There was a Volus trading vessel. Big one. Lots of guards. But they were no match for us.
That's the only time you saw him?
Yeah. Didn't even know who he was. Still wouldn't if I hadn't joined up with you. But my instincts were right. Every other merc on that mission turned up dead within a week. Every damn one.
Wow. Sounds like you dodged a fucking bullet there, Rex.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
Okay. And now we need a word with Tali. We haven't spoken to her in the slightest so far.
Your ship's amazing, Shepard. I've never seen a drive core like this before. I can't believe you were able to fit it into a ship this small. I'm starting to understand why you humans have been so successful. I had no idea Alliance vessels were so advanced.
Yeah, well, this ship is a special case. It's a new prototype, after all.
The Normandy's a prototype, cutting-edge technology.
A month ago, I was patching a makeshift fuel line into a converted tug ship in the flotilla. Now, I'm sitting on board one of the most advanced vessels in Citadel space. I have to thank you again for bringing me along. Traveling on a vessel like this is a dream come true for me.
I had no idea you found ship technology so interesting.
It comes with being a Quarian. The migrant fleet is the key to the survival of my people. Ships are our most valuable resource. But we don't have anything like this. We make do with cast-offs and second-hand equipment. We just try to keep them running for as long as we can. Some of the fleet's larger vessels date all the way back to our original flight from
Wait,
Death.
you're telling me you're still using ships that are 3 centuries old? Oh my fucking god.
I can't believe your fleet's still using ships that are 3 centuries old.
They're constantly being repaired, modified, and refitted. They aren't pretty, but they work. Mostly. We've tried to make ourselves as independent as possible on the flotilla, grow our own food, mine, and process our own fuel. But some things we just can't make on our own. A patch to maintain the hull integrity requires raw materials we just don't have. That's why our pilgrimages are so important.
I see.
Tell me about your people.
Our lives aren't easy. Resources are scarce, and we are constantly on the move. Everything we do must in some way contribute to the continuation of the migrant fleet. There are 17 million Quarians in the flotilla, and each of us relies on the others for survival. The bonds among my people are strong. Unfortunately, we have had to surrender many of the freedoms and civil liberties other species take for granted.
Such as?
What kind of freedoms?
Well, it's illegal for parents to have more than one child. If our population grows too much, it would strain our resources to their breaking point. Of course, we also can't allow our numbers to become too few. If our population is in decline, the rule against single births is temporarily repealed. In extreme cases of population decline, incentives are even offered to encourage multiple births, though the Conclave hasn't had to take such measures in nearly a century.
Yes, well, if they have that few resources, then I can see why having to keep tight control on your population would be necessary. It's not like they have even a whole planet's worth of resources to lean on. So it does make a lot more sense in this case, I feel like.
That's your government.
The Conclave is our civilian branch of government. Each ship can elect a representative to serve on the Conclave and make decisions that affect the fleet as a whole. On matters that affect an individual ship, however, the captain has the final say. It's a tradition that dates back to the early days, when the fleet was governed by martial law. Fortunately, most captains nowadays are smart enough to have an elected council from their crew to give them advice and guidance.
So the ultimate power rests with elected officials?
In practice, the Conclave and the respective council for each ship tend to set the rules that govern our daily lives. But in theory, we are still under military jurisdiction. The 5 top-ranking military officials in the fleet serve on the Admiralty Board. These 5 have the power to overrule any decision by the Conclave in case of emergency. To do so requires unanimous agreement among the Admiralty, and they can only do this once. After that, the entire board must resign their posts. It's a safeguard that served us well. In nearly 3 centuries, the Admiralty Board has only overruled the Conclave 4 times.
Well, the reluctance to overrule does make a degree of sense if you consider that they'd have to step down and resign a position of power if they did so, and probably these admirals very much would like to keep that position. So they'd only overrule the Conclave in the event when they actually had to, and not just for shits and giggles. Now tell me about your pilgrimage.
I want to know more about the pilgrimage.
When my people reach maturity, we leave our birth ships and seek acceptance with a new crew. It's necessary to maintain genetic diversity among the fleet. But no ship wants to accept someone who will be a burden on them. So, to prove our worth, we embark on a pilgrimage. We set out alone, leaving the flotilla and our families behind us. We only return once we have found something of value we can bring back to the fleet. This is presented as a gift to the captain of the respective ship we wish to join. If the gift is accepted, we are welcomed into the crew.
Can a captain choose to reject the gift?
That doesn't happen often. Most captains are eager to increase the size of their crew. It increases their own standing in our society. Even when a gift is not particularly valuable, the captain usually accepts it out of a sense of tradition. However, there is a stigma to presenting a substandard gift. It's not the best way to make a good impression on a new community. Most pilgrims don't return until they find something worthwhile.
I can't believe they just send you off alone.
It's not like they just cast us out. Before we leave, we are given lessons in how to survive outside the flotilla, and given gifts to help us on our journey. We also receive implants to fight off sickness and disease. Generations of living in an isolated and highly controlled environment have left our immune systems weaker than most. By the time we leave the fleet, we are well equipped for the pilgrimage. This is a rite of passage for all Quarians. If it were dangerous, our numbers would suffer. Virtually every pilgrimage ends with a triumphant return and the ritual presentation of the gift to one of the fleet's captains.
Well, if it's that important, then I suppose they would have to be well prepared for setting off on something like that, since it sounds like their society relies on ongoing pilgrimages.
I want to talk about something else.
Like
what?
the Geth.
I want to know more about the Geth.
I doubt I can tell you anything you don't already know. It's been almost 3 centuries since they drove my people into exile. All I know is the story of their origins. What they were when we created them, and how they turned on us.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Tell me.
Interesting.
The Geth were originally created to serve as an automated manual labor force. Initially, their intelligence was as limited as any VI. Over time, we made small modifications to their programming to allow them to perform more varied and complex tasks, bringing them closer and closer to true AI status.
Well, that was clearly a mistake, and besides, isn't AI research illegal?
How come the council didn't step in and stop you?
This wasn't true AI research. We may have been skirting the bounds of the law, but we never did anything that was actually illegal. The changes were so insignificant, so gradual, that we were able to control them. Or so we thought. But one thing we underestimated was the power of the neural network. A million Geth thinking simultaneously created an inherently unstable matrix.
Neural network? I have no idea what that even is, sorry.
So the Geth share brain power?
Many of the Geth's logic systems were designed to work in concert with other nearby Geth. Basically, the more of them you have in a group, the smarter they are.
So, sort of like a hive mind, I guess.
So there's some sort of group consciousness.
No, nothing like that. They cannot share sensory data or information. Their programming cannot handle that much simultaneous input. Each Geth maintains an individual awareness and identity. The neural network only operates on a process-based level. It's basically the synthetic equivalent of a subconscious. But when they're in close proximity, they can coordinate low-level functional processes, freeing up more capacity for original or independent thought.
Well, I'm waiting to say anything on this, because I don't remember if the descriptor I would use turns up here, and I'm trying to not repeat things too much.
That doesn't make any sense.
I'm probably oversimplifying. The Geth are incredibly advanced and complex creations. All you need to know is that they get smarter when they gather
that's the
in
way
large
I've always
numbers.
described this whole thing when I have to tell someone. They get smarter the more of them there are close by to each other.
One day, a Geth began to ask its Quarian overseer questions about the nature of its existence. Am I alive? Why am I here? What is my purpose? As you can imagine, this caused a near panic among my people.
I don't see what's so bad about those questions.
The Geth were created to engage in mundane, repetitive, or dangerous manual labor. That's fine for machines, but it won't satisfy a sentient being for long. The Geth were showing signs of rudimentary self-awareness and independent thought. If the Geth were intelligent, then we were essentially using them as slaves. It was inevitable the newly sentient Geth would rebel against their situation. We knew they would rise up against us, so we acted first. A general order went out across all Quarian-controlled systems to permanently deactivate all Geth. The Geth responded to this order.
I mean, what else would you expect of them? You were basically trying to commit genocide. And they were sentient, so they defended themselves.
Hey, you can't blame them for fighting for their survival.
We had no other choice. The Geth were already on the verge of revolution. By acting quickly, we had a chance to end the war before it began. The hope was that most of the Geth would still be little more than machines, incapable of organized resistance. But they had progressed much further than anyone anticipated. The war was long and bloody. Millions upon millions of Quarians died at their hands. In the end, we were forced to flee our own homeworld. We feared the Geth would pursue us, but they never came beyond the Veil. Now we drift through space, exile searching for a way to reclaim what was once ours.
It's hard to feel sorry for you. Your ancestors tried to wipe out another species.
We made a mistake when we created the Geth in the first place, but we did not make a mistake when we went to war against them. If we had not acted, they would have wiped us out. They're a synthetic life form. They have no use for organics. None. Why do you think they cut themselves off from the rest of the galaxy? Why do you think they've killed every organic being who's ever tried to contact them?
Not sure I necessarily agree with they would have annihilated us if we hadn't tried to do it to them first. As you still exist. They won. Didn't they let you leave your planet? That's after they won? Well, that would imply they have some capacity to understand that maybe genocide is bad. Besides,
They didn't kill Saren.
What does that tell you? The Geth are not innocent victims in all this. They're the enemy. They want to destroy us. Not just the Quarians. All organic life. That's why they've joined up with Saren. And that's why we have to stop him.
okay.
I should go.
See you later.
So, lot to unpack there. Definitely.
Hey, Shepard. You need something?
I should go.
And that's
See you later.
basically everything there is to discuss with Tally, apparently. I'll find out after another few story missions if there's anything more, but it looks like that's it for talking to Tally. She might be like Joker is in the sense that she has a fixed set of a few things to talk to you about. And once you talk to her about them, that exhausts all conversation options, unlike the other crew members. But I think that we're going to call it here for this episode. This has been Dark Phoenix Gaming, and you have been watching my Let's Play of Mass Effect 1 Legendary Edition with Vince Shepard. If you've enjoyed this, please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to see more like this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. See you then, folks. See you then.